Brooks with us. He's telling his side of the story. He's an eyewitness and an original illustrator of the Lake Worth monster in 1969. An eyewitness to the flurry of activity surrounding the Lake Worth monster sightings. Bobby's written several fictional books about the monster from the monster's perspective.
There you go. Thank you very much, folks. I'm pretty much new to giving presentations. I've read a lot of books. I've written about 50 books that are on Amazon, all types of books. One of them, the latest book, is about the Lake Worth monster, and my association with Sally Ann Clark, who is the original author of the original Lake Worth monster book, is why I'm here today. I did the artwork for her, for the book itself, for the cover, and I did the 6-foot one in her living room floor as I listened to a lot of the tapes that she had recorded for people who actually gave her stories to tell. And I've written this book, and this book it's a fictional book, but basically it uses the timeline for the actual events that went on right here in Lake Worth and Bear Island at the time. And it's a story about a Bigfoot and his trek to find a mate. And as he travels through Lake Worth on his way to Louisiana to find his mate, and he found her and brought her back through. Then went out to California. That's the book, okay? And if you go out to the area where they're having all the activities, I have a booth out there, and you can maybe pick up that book, and I'll order it for you. Back in July 1969, this is what started it. This newspaper article, and next, people started flooding out to the island. All the roads were full. Of course, a lot of people don't realize this, but all along the lake shore, it was like a lover's lane. Okay, it's where people came on Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday afternoon. Of course, people came to fish too. But mostly they were out to have a good night's outing. And it was during this time that I met Sally Ann Clark. Basically, I was out looking for the monster myself, and I met her because her car wouldn't start after doing some interviews. She had left the lights on in her car, and it run her battery down, and she couldn't start her car. So I brought my battery changer up, and I started her car up for her. But I also gave her my number because I was a mechanic at the time, and if she needed any help, then I'd come out and help her out. And let's see, this is the picture of Sally Ann Clark. The one on your left here is while she was out. This is a Polaroid, an old one because it's 50 years old. Out when she was out doing her research. The other one is a younger picture she gave me, and actually she autographed both of these pictures for me. I have them on display out in my tent. And of course, everybody knows that she's an author. She's the one that wrote the book, gathered all the research, and because I was helping her out, I was able to do the front page cover of her book and do a drawing. And let's see, after she published her book, she gave me the very first copy of the book out of her box. And she autographed it for me and signed it on the inside. I still have that book today. It's 50 years old. It's pretty raggedy, but I have it out there at my tent for display as well. And this is her book. As you can see, right there is my initials. And a funny little story is that it was between her and myself coining the name Lake Worth Monster, okay? We were talking about the title of her book, and everybody was talking about a goat man, okay? And I told her, well, Sally, you know, that's just what somebody is saying, and who's gonna believe it was a goat man? You know, why don't we just say monster? Because that covers everything. And she said, well, it sounds pretty good, why don't we just call it the Fort Worth Monster, or the Lake Worth Monster? I said, well, Lake Worth sounds pretty good. Okay, so that's how we got the name Lake Worth Monster. And she just added on Greer Island, Fort Worth, Texas. And of course, I was a young artist. I was about 19 or 20 years old at the time. And I wasn't really all that good, but this picture right here, this whole picture, not working, but this whole picture here, I gave her like 4 or 5 different pictures that she could use for the book. And she chose this one. This was the worst one of them all. This was, I didn't like this picture. She liked it because it had a fish in it. And the fish really isn't all that good either. But I'm a lot better artist today than I was back then, you know. But I think that's the last. Okay, here's the picture of myself, and that's not me right there. That's a Blackburn, but that's the picture I drew, and that's my name on it someplace on there. But I think the family still has it, but I haven't seen it for 50 years, so I haven't know. Okay. And if you look on the internet, you'll see he has a website dealing with monsters and conspiracy theories and such as that. Go back the other way. And I did this is the postcard right here. That is actually made into a postcard, the one on the one running, and I did several of them with little faces on it like that, just to get an idea of what she wanted, you know, because I didn't know what she wanted. But the only thing I didn't do is I didn't draw anything with hooves on it. Okay, everything was like for a Bigfoot. And here's some examples of the artwork I have out on display, and different, you know, a Bigfoot to me is like a different person. Each one of them is different, so I just do a bunch of different ones. Some of them are oil paintings, some of them are pencil sketches, but all of them are the original, one of a kind, and they're all on display if they're not sold out at the event. And of course, for me, you can find out more about me on Amazon. If you search Bobby F. Brooks on Amazon. And like I said, I've written about 50 books. I got several that deal with Bigfoot. This one in the middle is an adventure story. This one relates to the Lake Worth Monster, because the father of this young Bigfoot here is the one that came through here. Okay, and he's got a name, but you'll have to read the book to find out what it is. Okay, this one's a hairy man. It's about a Bigfoot in Louisiana, but it's a very unique book because the whole book is typed in phonics. Okay, it's if you can imagine an old black gentleman, you know, from Louisiana, and he talks. He has a certain way of talking, and that's the way the book is written. And I had a really hard time with it with my spell checker, because it wouldn't recognize the words that were written in the book. And I could probably give you an example. You know, it's not a racist book at all. It's a book about an old gentleman and his wife taking care of 2 grandkids because their parents need to go shopping. Okay, so the grandparent is telling the grandkids the story of the hairy man, and the hairy man is still around today. But those, and I have several other books, but mainly this is the book that I'm kind of promoting today, and in hopes that I can also keep the legend of the Lake Worth Monster prevalent, and especially out here, because it relates to what's going on out here, and I hope that instead of having something every 4 or 5 years, they have it like every year. And I hope that it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and they continue to promote it, and it becomes maybe even a movie someday, you know. So please visit my booth if you get a chance, and I think it's going to go on until about 3 o'clock or so you still have some time. When I leave here, I'll go out there, and if you come out there, I'll sign anything for you, take pictures, whatever you want. Okay. That pretty much ends my presentation. I'd like to ask you if you have any questions to ask me. Go ahead.
Yeah, the drawings that you did you get together with Sally Ann, and did y'all kind of go over the stories that people had sightings? Because I know some people were saying they were like wide, Bigfoot was like wide, and some people said it had horns, and
Well, I heard almost all of the tapes that she had recorded. It took me a long time to do that drawing. I did it first I did it in pencil, and then I went over it in ink, okay? And yeah, that's a big drawing, okay? The other one I did at home, and I brought it over to her, because I had like several of them together. And, but yes, I listened to the stories, and, you know, being, you know, kind of where I am, I just decided in my mind that it was a Bigfoot, you know, that nobody's going to believe that it was a goat man, you know. But, you got Goat Island out here, you got you know, people that would say anything, you know, to get a laugh. You got pranksters, you got, but you got true believers, people that believe in what they saw or what they think they saw. And myself, well, I had an experience. I took a picture of what I thought might have been a Bigfoot. I was driving on one of the roads. It was a long, straight road, which is not very many of them around here, but it had a fence run alongside of it. And I was getting ready to leave. It was just after dark. And because I'd been down through during the day, and I've been down every road there was. And the only camera I had was one of those little Polaroid flash cameras. So at the very front of my headlights, as far as it could reach, and I didn't have the high beams on, I saw something run across the road. And it could have been a deer, but it just didn't look like a deer to me. Anyway, I rushed up to where I run across the road and jumped the fence, and I jumped out of the car, and I just took a picture, okay? And I didn't expect it to come out because it's a flash picture, you know, from here to across the room, you get nothing. So, anyway, I had a little whitish blob on there because of the flash. And so I showed that picture to Sally, and she said, well, why don't you call the National Enquirer or something and get them started on it? Well, I said, nah, it's not really a good picture, you know. She said, okay, I'll do it. So anyway, I got a call from the National Enquirer, and I actually met with the guy. He's a real thin, scrawny-looking guy with big old glasses, the kind you see that have a little piece of tape in the middle, kind of like that, you know. And he had a really nice 35mm camera, though. And so he interviewed me a little bit, and I said, well, you know, I just sat here driving along. I was out here looking around during the day, you know, with everybody else for the Lake Monster, or for the monster back then. And I was getting ready to leave, go home, go back to the highway, and I saw this thing, and I took a picture of it, and that's it. So he had me just point over to the fence where I saw it jump the fence, or where it jumped the fence. And it was in the National Enquirer sometime between August and December of 1969. Now, I found out today that they actually have it still, but unfortunately, the copies of everything is in a room because they had an anthrax scare back then, and it's quarantined, so you can't get to it, at least not right now. So that's that part of the story. And so my association basically was, I was out looking around like everybody else, and I met Sally Ann Clark, and I did the pictures for her, and so that's been part of my life. but it was like 50 years ago. And so I'm here now, today, I'm just relaying that in hopes to keep the legend alive. Okay, so that's about it. Any more questions? Yes, sir.
Where's your tanner removed?
You'll have to ask these folks here, because I don't know how to get back over there. They have a,
It's at the office. I think they call that building the office.
yeah, it's over for the opposition, and somebody from here can tell you how to get over there. They have a,
The road goes, at the bottom, it goes to the left, and it'll take you. It's about a mile, I guess.
yeah, like I said, I haven't been out here in 50 years, and all the little roads now, you know, the only roads I remember are the ones running along the lake, and the way to get back out to the highway. So,
I know a lot of the people here probably do not know this, but this place used to have a road that went from Casino Beach all the way through, that was open 24 hours a day, never closed.
oh, yeah,
That's
well,
where we used
you
to
know,
drive through.
back then, everything was open, okay? I mean, on the weekends, high school kids came out up and down the road. They would race their cars around, you know, it's a racetrack, you know, for those kids. And you know, I mean, it was just a place to go to get away from everything else around. And it was for this side of town, you know what I mean? It was a lot of fun. I remember I had a Mustang back then, and I did a lot of racing up through the roads. That was one of the best times I had in my life. Any other questions? Well, once again, my name is Bobby Brooks, and it's Bobby F. Brooks if you want to search it out on the internet. And you can see almost all my books there. There are all kinds of books, so that's something for everybody.
I have a quick
One
question.
more question.
Now, we've seen a picture, somebody did a presentation that used this picture of like this white blob. Was that your picture?
No, I wasn't one, but I do have an original copy that Sally Ann gave me, and it's autographed on the back with a note.
You said your picture actually is that.
It's one of the original pictures, one of the original prints. Okay, I don't know how many was printed out. It's not the original picture, because the original picture is wider than the one I have.
And you said your picture that you took with your Instamatic actually is at the National Enquirer.
Yeah, the blob that I had, it was from one of those, I guess you call it
Instamatics, yeah.
Yeah, it just zips out and you take it off and you do it like that, you know.
But you said it's at the National Enquirer.
Yeah, that's, the National Enquirer actually has that picture,
Okay.
I don't have it anymore.
Yeah.
And I gave it to them, and that picture was published in the National Enquirer, along with me. It had two pictures pointing at the fence line and a little story about it. So,
Do you have a copy of that particular issue of the Enquirer from fall of '69?
no, that's what I'm saying, that I gave them the picture, but I just found out this morning from Kaya, they checked and they said that they have the picture, they have the article, well, actually it's the whole issue, okay?
Okay.
But it's in a room that has been closed off because it had an anthrax scare. So I can't get to it. I asked myself, well, when do you think they can get to us? Don't know. They will tell us. So, but I did find out from him. I didn't know until today either. So
And did you get a copy when it came out of the
I
National
had a
Enquirer?
copy. I had a copy, and you know, I don't know what happened to it. I've got copies of a lot of other things. You know, I raced motorcycles back when I was in the military at Fort Walters, Texas. I got pictures of me about that high in the air, flying through the air on a motorcycle. You know, I've got pictures of artwork I did for newspapers back in the early days, and I've got cartoons that I did back when I was a teenager. You know, but for some reason I can't find that particular one. But when I was searching, I found pictures of Sally Ann Clark. I found my old book, the original book that she gave me, and of course I wouldn't give those things away for anything. And I'm trying to find out where the original picture is of the big one, the one I showed you on the slide, because you know whether I can acquire it or whether, we can get it over here for display, would be, something to preserve it, for the future. A lot of people, that'd be something else to see, for, the nature reserve, since it was about something that happened here. Any other questions?
Well, thank you.